Hey critters and looters. Today I'm going to talk about a critical role theory I have about Imogen and how Matt has some big plans for her that feed into their upcoming book. Today on Flutes Loot. This all has to do with Critical Role's upcoming book, Call of the Netherdeep, launching in March. The timing of this book to me is a strong indicator that Matt was working on this book during the wrap-up of Campaign 2 to say that it's ready to go here in March. I think a lot of the ideas that he puts into this book are going to feed into Campaign 3's narrative. It might even make sense to make the Netherdeep a key focus of Campaign 3 as just a little bit of a marketing nod to encourage people to buy that book as they get a taste of it in Campaign 3. But so far, I don't think the Netherdeep has been mentioned in Campaign 3. It seems to be absent. Or is it? Let me read the adventure's description for Call of the Netherdeep. The greed of mortals has awakened a powerful entity long thought destroyed. For eons, this mighty champion of the gods has been imprisoned in the darkest depths of Exandria. His name has been forgotten, as have his heroic deeds. Languishing in despair, he calls out for new heroes to save him. Inspired by the campaigns of the hit series Critical Role, this adventure begins in the waste of Xhorhas and leads to the glimmering oasis city of Ank'Harel on the continent of Marquet, and from there into a sunken realm of gloom, corruption, and sorrow known as the Netherdeep. Above it all, the red moon of Ruidus watches, twisting the fates of those who have the power to shape the course of history. Marquet, you say? Where Campaign 3 is currently underway. Marquet is the continent where Campaign 3 at least has started, and where I suppose they'll spend a lot of their time. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with Imogen? But first, let's read the wiki description for the Netherdeep from the Critical Role wiki. The Netherdeep is an underwater realm of gloom, corruption, and sorrow in Exandria, and described as a terrifying cross between the far realm and the deep ocean. It was first mentioned in the announcement of the upcoming Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep and is one of the adventure's significant settings, but the fact that it is a cross between the far realm and the deep ocean is a big clue of what we can expect from it. Because the Far Realm is a Forgotten Realms setting specific title, and so the Netherdeep is this in-between place. Matt has already shown that he takes a lot of inspiration from the Forgotten Realms and whatever books come out from D&D 5th edition. He's already used a lot to do with Eberron, but he's also used a lot of monsters from some of the subsequent books beyond the Monster Manual, so he's definitely not someone who ignores D&D 5e's publications from Wizards of the Coast, and he makes them his own, as a DM should do. So what is the Far Realm? Going from the Forgotten Realms wiki, the Far Realm is a plane that connects to the material plane, generally deep in the Underdark. That's important. When Vox Machina, which is the name of the party from Campaign 1, which most people listening to this video will probably know that, when Vox Machina found a rift to the Far Realm near Yogvoril, which was at the very beginning of Campaign 1, where they had just started streaming their adventure, and they were in the Underdark. Yugvoril, or however it's said, that's where that is. And going on from the quote here, Clarota warned them that should they try to enter the Far Realm, their minds would break. Now, Clarota was a mind flayer who actually traveled with Vox Machina for a little bit while they were in the Underdark, and he knew a lot about the goings-on of the Underdark and the different players down there. Big shocker that the mind flayer tried to eat one of them. More about the Far Realm. It is said that those who have nightmares on the borders of the Far Realm sometimes dream things into being. Now that's interesting. If you have nightmares on the borders of the Far Realm, you can make your dreams become real. Now we just learned that the Netherdeep is a border between the material plane and the Far Realm. And so, inserting that into this little bit of lore, the borders of the Far Realm, in Critical Role's sense, would be the Netherdeep. Or at least that's one place to border it. The wiki goes on to say the Far Realm is home to terrible, formless, ancient creatures that may have existed before Exandria itself. The Far Realm is home to various aberrations like beholders, cloakers, and aboleths. Beholders are interesting on this list because they can make reality out of their dreams. That's how new beholders are created, is a beholder dreams about another beholder trying to kill them. Cloakers, I don't have much to say about that, but aboleths are ancient creatures that are said to predate the gods themselves, and they have ancient memories and much psychic power, and they have to do a lot with aquatic places. I expect to see an aboleth in Campaign 3, in addition to a lot of UNT, but that's a separate thing. Beholders might come up again, though a beholder was very prominent in Campaign 1 during the Underdark adventures in the very beginning of the campaign. I'm not sure Matt will retread that, but Volo's Guide to Monsters gives a lot of information on beholders that would allow Matt to do a lot with them. And based on what's going on in Campaign 3 right now and my theory today, I don't think it's too far-fetched. Now we get to Imogen. What does this have to do with her? I believe Imogen is really more of a Kalashtar. The Kalashtar lineage comes to us from the Eberron setting, where these people have become compounded, meaning more than one soul inhabits their body. This consolidation of souls into the Kalashtar's body happens due to interactions with the plane of dreams. Spirits who share physical space with the Kalashtar are called Quori, Quori. Don't quote me on that pronunciation, named for Dal Quor in the realm of dreams of which they fled. Kalashtar are described as haunted due to their experiences with otherworldly spirits. Their eyes often glow when they express intense emotion. Now, this Quori, this spirit that shares the body of a Kalashtar human, they often can influence the Kalashtar person, but not with direct words like, oh, you should or should not do this. They typically influence them through their dreams, which are not really dreams anymore because they're separated from the plane of dreams. So it's a form of dreaming, but it's not quite the same thing. And a Kalashtar who's not raised by other Kalashtar may not even know they're being influenced by another spirit in their body, just that they act a certain way when their emotions flare up, and they may exhibit psionic capabilities. Now, Imogen, her call to adventure here in Campaign 3, she's trying to attend an academy and get answers on what is going on with her. We've seen very clearly that she has many psychic abilities that include telepathy specifically. Most people say, okay, she's a human, so she's a variant human with the homebrew telepathy, telekinetic feat or something, and it has to do with her being overwhelmed by thoughts like she's Jean Grey or something. I'm not sure. We already have a lot of homebrew that Matt does that twists what we assume about what's published in the different books of subclasses, right? And they're very keen on changing things. If the Kalashtar was an interesting concept, but they wanted to make it a more fun, mechanical character lineage, then I'm sure that they would have done that. So basically, when a Kalashtar dreams, they're really drawing from the memories of the Quori, the spirit in their body. I've noticed a few times that Laura Bailey, in playing Imogen, has described her emotions very specifically, as if she's getting impressions. Now that's important because she may be playing Imogen as someone who doesn't know that she has another spirit in her body, unlike Laudna, who's very aware of another mind influencing her. And so Imogen might be aware that she's getting impressions, and she might have an inkling of what's going on, but not totally get it. But the biggest hint, I think, to her Kalashtar nature is at the death of Bertrand Bell. I want to quickly put up a picture of what the Call of the Netherdeep cover art looks like. There's a lot of red. Let's take a look at the scene where Bertrand Bell is meeting his demise at the same moment that Imogen is having a dream where she's back at home with her mares, her horses, in some tall grass, relaxing, and then a red storm enters her dream. Again, red. And Matt makes the whole room red for the players during this scene.
Just then the wind suddenly starts to change. Harsher. Colder. You turn, and your eyes find a familiar sight. The horizon. Entirely consumed in red. Swirling. Hungry clouds filling the sky and coming fast. Silent flashes of lightning in the distance as you stand motionless, watching the streaks of dark crimson rake across the heavens above you, darkening it, reaching for you. Flora immediately flees. You stand, frozen.
It reminds me of Stranger Things Season 2, when Will has premonitions and dreams about what they call the Mind Flayer, that big shadow monster. There's a storm. Reminds me very much of that, and I'm sure Matt took inspiration from it. One notable moment in Imogen's dream is when Matt says,
and louder until you hear her voice. Run, Imogen. Run.
That's interesting. He didn't say who she is, but Laura obviously seems to have a precedence and a knowledge of who she is, or at least she's heard this voice before. This voice doesn't make an appearance or anything, but I believe this voice is the voice of the spirit that inhabits Imogen's body and gives her psionic abilities her quarry. Also, it's kind of funny that she was frolicking with her mares before she got a nightmare. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I actually wonder if Imogen is harboring some guilt. Maybe she has seen her dreams become reality before because she has some kind of connection to the Netherdeep. Maybe that's the angle Matt is going for. And so the Netherdeep, again, is a borderline between the far realm and the material plane. If something has happened to Imogen, or she's inherited some kind of spirit in her body, that might explain some of her strange psionic powers. If she has experienced reality being warped by her dreams before, she may be harboring guilt that perhaps she got Bertrand killed because of her dream. She may not see it as a premonition, though she did describe it as a feeling or an impression she got that Bertrand was in trouble when she met with the others in the morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Laura play Imogen and describe a kind of guilt like she may have caused Bertrand's death through her psionic dreaming. Interestingly, Imogen's last name, Tumult, resembles the word tumult, which has to do with water, tumultuous waters. And the Netherdeep is this watery, deep ocean place. This also makes sense to me because Imogen's kinship with Laudna early on, and they're traveling together, it would make sense that they have a similar backstory issue where Laudna has her patron in her head and Imogen just has psionic abilities and impressions that she can't explain. Also in Campaign 2, Cognosa, the flesh-warping nightmarescape of the finale of Campaign 2, was an involved concept of shaping of dreams, or so I've heard from other Critical Role enthusiasts. So that leads me to believe that Matt had heavy themes in Campaign 2 that he was exploring that he wants to carry over and really explore in Campaign 3. And so dreams are going to be big. I still stand by my prediction from when I predicted what would happen in Campaign 3 before it started, that I think order and chaos are going to be a big deal, and a lot of Shadow Fae energies and plane walking stuff might be happening. The latest episodes involving this Nightmare King and that really feed into that. I think that's true because the Nightmare King is a character from Brennan Lee Mulligan's world, and so maybe they're actually going to bring him on for some stuff in Critical Role as a villain, perhaps. And he is supposedly involved with dreams as well. So Imogen is primed for being a big plot point in Matt's preparations because of her tie to the dream world and what I believe is the Netherdeep and the Far Realm through her psionic abilities. We'll see. So I'm not the only one that thinks Imogen might be a Kalashtar. I looked online and there were other people that posted about it, so though I had the thought come to me on my own, it seems pretty natural for people to be wondering this. So it makes sense to more people than just I that she might be a Kalashtar, or whatever Matt's version of that is. Just like he took the Warforged and made the Automaton FCG. So what do you think? Is Matt going to take Campaign 3's party down into the depths of the Netherdeep and the deep oceans on the border of the Far Realm? And is Imogen going to be integral to exploring the themes of the campaign because she is a Kalashtar and that spirit may or may not be someone of consequence? It might be someone nameless. I don't know. What do you think? I really want to hear. Was this an intriguing theory to you? Do you know if you can refute it or back it up with anything I did not know or say? Because I'm actually pretty amateur with Critical Role lore. I've just been trying to get into it recently. And I'd love to know if you want to hear more about it. I'm not really a Critical Role channel. I just talk about D&D in general, as does my wife, Opal. So we are Flutes and Opal, husband and wife combo with our website, flutesloot.com. We make videos to accompany our articles and then a few other videos sometimes when we just feel like it, like this one. We'd love to see you subscribe for Critical Role stuff and just general D&D, TTRPG, advice, mechanics, fun, lore, all that kind of stuff. I also have a lot of improv experience. I recommend checking out my improv video to help you with your role playing. There's not a lot of improv advice for D&D players that isn't pretty surface level, skin deep, and so I kind of took a deep dive with this video to try to give the best advice I can. And there are some other channels popping up of some competent improvisers giving really in-depth advice, and I recommend you check them out. And if you made it to the end of the video and you want to just put something in the comments to help out the algorithm, say, "I hear the call of the Netherdeep," and leave it at that. Thanks for watching and listening. I will catch you in the next video. Hope you have a great adventure this weekend. Bye.